So once again, good afternoon everyone and welcome to Microdesk's Bluebeam 2018 Tips and Tricks webinar. Microdesk is a consulting firm that focuses on the architecture, engineering, construction, and facility operations industry. We've been providing services to our clients for 25 years and have 13 locations across the United States and in the United Kingdom. Our staff includes over 150 consultants and developers who specialize in the software and workflows relevant to our industry, and every one of them has had previous experience with the industries we serve. In addition to webinars like this one you're attending today, we provide full service consulting and training, and this includes building information modeling services, enterprise strategy and workflow assessments, technology management, mentoring, and support, as well as application development. My name is Chris Fernandez, and I am a senior consultant with expert knowledge in assisting organizations with implementing building information modeling technologies and processes into their design workflows. I also work closely with Microdesk's sales team to ensure that we're delivering the most beneficial and effective implementation solutions to our clients. This involves providing technical support, training, product evaluations, recommendations, on-site services, and standards development. I have experience in many of today's leading BIM technologies, including Revit, Navisworks, BIM 360, as well as Bluebeam. So here is our agenda for today. I've tried to select tips and tricks from a variety of areas. For our seminar today, I will show tips and tricks from viewing, document management, editing, and administration. All of these tips are easy enough to start using today and should help with just about every workflow and most project team standards. In the viewing area, we'll look at file access categories, using manual bookmarks, how to handle multiple tabs, and custom markup columns. In the document management area, we'll learn the differences between combine, split, and extract. We'll learn how to use labels and sets, layers, and form creation tips. In the editing section, we'll remind ourselves about dimmer, lasso, flatten, how to properly use snapshot, the reuse tool, measuring, custom tools, and printing tips. And in the administration portion, we will look at revisions, keyboard shortcuts, and some additional features. For administrative purposes, please ask any questions in the provided field for GoToWebinar. I'll get to as many of them as I can at the end of this presentation. The actual content of the webinar will be about 30 minutes. So with that said, let's get started. I have a couple of polls for us to take real quickly. So let me bring those up. So our first question is going to be, do you currently use Bluebeam or some other PDF product? Okay, great. Looks like about 85% of us use Bluebeam. Great. One additional question, if you are one of those 87% users of Bluebeam, what would you consider yourself? What kind of user are you? All right, great. So it looks like we have a lot of intermediate users, but also plenty of beginners and some advanced as well. And then about 5% are asking what's Bluebeam. Great. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with our first set here. So to get started with our tips and tricks, we're going to look at some of the viewing tips. So our first tip deals with the File Access tab, more specifically the Pin tool. Pinning to categories allows you to organize your recent files for quicker access. This allows you to group files together that are not in the same folder or drive, and to organize your pinned files in the way that helps you work faster. I've just been told that I'm not sharing my screen. Thank you. So the categories in the files in each category are sorted alphabetically by name. So hopefully everybody can see my screen now. So with that said, simply select a file in the recents and click the pin button. Select a new category. Type it in, and now it's available as a category in the recent files. Adding files to this category is as simple as pinning, and removing it is just as simple as unpinning it. Our next tip deals with bookmarks. Sometimes we get caught up in the batch tools that we forget about some of the simpler things. So this tip is about using manual bookmarks. These bookmarks link to the current view of the page that's active in the main workspace at the time of their creation. You'll notice here I created one called SABS. Now I can navigate anywhere in the document and immediately jump back to that manual bookmark. These are incredibly useful when navigating large documents. Next, when working with many different PDF files, sometimes navigating the workspace can become cumbersome. Using the right mouse click on the tab you'd like to keep open, you can choose Close Other Tabs. This will close all the other files that are not active. You will be prompted to save the document if you haven't saved the changes in the documents that are being closed. The data displayed in the markups list is highly customizable. Users have control over which columns are shown and in what order. They can create custom columns, including columns that perform user-defined calculations. In this tip, I'm creating a field for Project Manager sign-off for issues. Reviewing the list of standard markup fields, I see that it does not contain the field that I wish to use. So I'll choose Manage Columns. I'll select the Custom Columns tab and select Add. I'll simply enter a name. For this one, it will be PM Sign-Off. And I'll also choose what data type I wish to use. In this instance, it's going to be a check mark. On this screen, I can choose how I would like to order those or whether or not I want to keep it. Once I have created my custom column, it's now available to store values. This is a very powerful tool. Now, let's take a look at some document management tips. Our next three tips are not necessarily secret ones, but they are questions I receive fairly regularly. So I thought I would clarify them here. When should I use combine, split, and extract? Use combine for multiple PDF files that already exist. Choose options such as whether to include the existing PDF's bookmarks and file attachments. PDFs are sorted in the order with which they're added. In this example, I created one 12-page PDF out of 12 individual files. The split document splits the file into separate files based on either page count, file size, or top-level bookmarks. The process creates new documents and does not change the original document. Split document creates a new document with the pages that you select. For example, a new PDF file can be created for sheets 1 through 6 or 4, 6, 9, and 12 as an example. Settings exist to allow for hyperlinks in the document to be converted to relative paths. Choose a destination folder and how you'd like the document name. Once processed, you now have a document that contains only the pages you've selected. So here, for instance, I have a Part 1 and a Part 2 that contains only the pages that I chose. Extract Pages selects individual pages or a range of pages in the current document and populates them into separate files. The process does not alter the current document. Once I extract those pages, it's going to create a new PDF file for each page chosen in the page range. For this example, I chose 2, 3, 4, and 6, and it creates a PDF for each one of those pages. Adding page labels is a critical tool in Bluebeam for organization. But did you know you can combine regions to create a more descriptive page label? In this tip, you can see I'm going to select the page number and page name to create my page labels. Placing a field around the number. Adding some separator, for instance, in this example, a dash. And then choosing where the title is coming from. Once I select OK, it's going to create the page labels for those pages. So you could use project numbers and page names, or you could use page numbers and plot stamp dates. As long as that information is in the document, it can be used. Another tip that I often teach Bluebeam users is the use of sets. Sets allow users to open a collection of documents in a single view with the pages organized in a specified sort order, including any revisions and addenda. Users can navigate through these multiple files as though they were in one document without actually merging them into a single file. All that is required is some simple defining tools. In this instance, it's going to be the page number. And once the set has been created, you'll notice that we now have the ability to open each one of those sheets and start marking things up. The Layers panel provides quick access to layers, layer configurations, and tools for creating and deleting layers. Using layers to organize markups is a huge tip. Here, I have created a layer for interiors. Once created, I'm going to right mouse click on that layer and choose Markup Layer. All new markups will be added to this layer, and Alert is letting me know that the markups will be added to that layer. Here, notice I have a door that needs to be flipped. So what I'll do is I'll simply add my cloud. In the markup list, I will edit my comments, and you will also see that the layer is set to interiors. These layers can be toggled on and off for visibility purposes. This will help your markups stay organized and make it easier to navigate your document. Forms can be created in Review by manually placing form fields on a PDF or by using the Auto Create function. Auto Create is the better option for PDFs that already represent forms, as it will detect areas of the PDF that conform to the form field characteristics and build a form automatically for you. This PDF has areas that I would like to have converted to form fields. Using the Tools and Form pull-down, I've selected the Automatically Generate Form Fields. Bluebeam scans the form and adds fields at all of the form areas. Once the document is saved, it's ready to be used as a form. This tip will make form creation much faster. Now let's take a look at some editing tips. Using the dimmer turns down or dims the content layer of a PDF so as to better see annotations. This tip allows you to see items that you might be using to make design decisions in Bluebeam. In this example, it may be difficult to pick up the wall cavity that was added, but using the dimmer tool, it's easy to see. This is a very useful tip. Don't forget about the reuse tool. When the reuse tool is enabled after placing a markup, the same markup can be added to the PDF without having to reselect it. This mode is helpful when adding the same markup onto the PDF sequentially. Reuse can be found on the Tools menu, and in this video, I'm placing return grills in the space using the Reuse tool. This tip makes my work a lot easier. There are several ways to select more than one markup. A neat trick is using the lasso selection method. In this example, I would like to select the 3 rectangles, but not the oval. Choosing Edit and Lasso, I can create a selection lasso to pick up exactly what I want. From there, I can manipulate what I need to. Shift and the letter O invokes the command as a keyboard shortcut. I'm often asked if I could print out the pop-ups that are on screen without doing a screen capture, and the answer is yes. You'll notice here I've printed, and I only get the revision clouds. By changing a setting in your preferences, we can print the pop-ups. Select the tools and markups from your preferences, and check the box for print pop-ups. You can also control the opacity of the printed boxes. Here I chose 70%. Next, select my printing properties, and they now print. Existing tools in the tool chest are very useful, but sometimes we need something similar but different. In this example, I'd like to check my common path of travel distance for my life safety plans. In the general measurement section, there's a poly length measurement tool. This should do the trick, except it labels the path piping, duct, and conduit. Since I use this tool all the time, I'd like to edit it so that it reads path of travel, and I also would like it to be red. I will start by duplicating the existing tool. Now, once I invoke the tool, I can then change colors, line types, and line weights. I'm going to go ahead and test that tool again. Looks pretty good. Next, I want to address the label that still reads the piping, duct, and conduit. I will switch the tool chest view to detail and edit the label to get the verbiage that I'm looking for. I'm going to test it one more time. Now that I have it looking the way I want, I'm going to simply take that tool and I'm going to move it up to My Tools. Customizing these tool chests are incredible. Most people know about flattening an entire document. We do that task from the Document menu. But we can accomplish a single flatten by selecting the object and right mouse clicking. Here, I'd like to get rid of this rev and form number. I will use the rectangle tool without a border to cover the information. Then, right mouse click to flatten the object to the document. You can see that the object has now been flattened. The next tip involves using real-world elements outside of Bluebeam to do some preliminary design work. In this example, I have a mall complex that we've been asked to create an addition to. The building in the center left would like to add to their existing structure. Here, I'm going to use a snipping tool to get a map from the internet. Take me just a second. Jumping back into Bluebeam, I'm going to start a new document. I can choose a template, or I could choose a size and an orientation. From there, I'll simply insert the image into my new document. Using the Calibrate tool on the Measurements tab, I'm going to set my desired width of a known area. From there, I can use any of my To Scale tools to sketch the desired shape to real-world sizes. This next tip is the use of the Snapshot tool. The Snapshot tool copies text and raster or vector content to the clipboard. When a snapshot is pasted in a PDF with Review, vectors will remain editable. When pasted into an external application, a raster image will be pasted. Here, I will select the Snapshot tool and create a window. This portion of the document has now been added to the clipboard. From there, I will create a new document to place the snapshot into. I can use a template, or I could specify a size and an orientation. Then a simple Control-V to paste the snapshot into the new document. Did you know that you could use this outside of Bluebeam? The copied object in Snapshot can be used in many programs such as Word or Outlook. And as of around lunchtime today, we tested this and it went right into AutoCAD without any issues. Now, let's take a look at some administrative tips. Bluebeam makes it possible to maintain revision history, making it possible to revert back to previously saved versions of a PDF. Revision history is stored within the PDF, resulting in larger file sizes. This tip will save you time trying to locate revisions of a document. To make this setting, it's really simple. Select the Review menu and Preferences. Select the General and Document tab and change the Save mode to Maintain Revisions. Once the setting has been changed, you may now use the Revert tool to go to previous revisions. This was one of the top feature requests from customers for this release. You can remap any of the tools or commands to any specific keyboard entry you desire. If you're looking to work more efficiently, keyboard shortcuts are a way to cut down on time spent scrolling and clicking. Another additional feature to this tool is the mappings can be exported and imported to help with a company standard or for use of Bluebeam on multiple computers. The mapping tool is located at the Review menu and keyboard shortcuts. And speaking of feature requests, our final tip, if you have a feature request, submit it. Bluebeam is always looking for user input to improve the product. Simply navigate to Help and make a suggestion. Fill out the form and submit it. Maybe your idea can make it into the future release of Bluebeam. This concludes the content portion of today's webinar. I hope you have found it useful, and to make sure, could you please complete our last poll question? Go ahead and pop it up here. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll. Thank you, everyone. So we have time for questions. I'm going to pop out the little screen here, see if I can answer some of these. So a lot of it had to do with the very beginning when I wasn't sharing my screen. Good, got it. One of the questions, are all of these tips and tricks available in all 3 versions of Bluebeam Review? Thinking back, I think maybe I'll have to post that after the fact. I'm trying to remember every single tip. There might, I think they're all available in all of them, to be honest with you. Our PDF size is extremely large when they are created from Civil 3D. Also, when sending the PDF to print, it often hangs up because it's trying to flatten, even though PDF has already been flattened. Max, I would say maybe submit that to our support, and we can see if we can work through a couple of different options that might be able to solve that. Is the webinar recorded for playback? Yes, it is. I believe it'll be on our social media channel within a short period of time. So a lot of these are very in-depth sort of support questions as well as training questions. So I would say you could reach out to us and see if there's some things that we can do to solve that, because there are a lot of questions here. I'm not sure if I answer these questions. I think if I keep this recording, they will show up on the video after the fact. So maybe I could do that once this ends. I wish, yeah. So with that said, I would like to again thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure presenting to you today. I hope you find that these tips and tricks are useful in your day-to-day work. Typically when I lay out a tips and tricks, I try to find a set that everybody can use right out of the gate. They're not always advanced things. They're not always super simple things. So if you have any questions, any additional ones, or you'd like to learn more about what we do here, our training, our consulting, and our solutions, visit our website, give us a call, send us an email, or reach out to us on one of our social media platforms, and we will get back to you. So with that, have a wonderful day.